Prophet of thought.
The prophet of thought.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series, right here on the old YouTube T.P.O.T page. I'm your host, X, of course. And tonight, what's up, Lady Classic? What's going on? Tonight, we have a very special guest. This brother here is actually in my humble opinion, is probably one of the most underrated, underestimated YouTubers on this circuit. I listen to this brother's channel. I subscribe to his channel, and his message is solid and sound, and he's humble with it. And I just like his stuff. So I've been trying to get him on here for a little minute, and I finally got him on. You need to go ahead, because down in the subscription box down there, you will see where you can subscribe to the brother's channel. So I bring y'all tonight, L.A.R. Movement. What's good, brother?
Nothing much, fam. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Me and L.A.R. was talking before we hit the airways. But what? What's up, Child Will, Lady Cats? What you saying up there, Lady Cats? Could
What's up, ladies?
pretty please get L.A.R. to sing the first hour? Yeah. Me and brother L.A.R. was talking earlier, and I told him that I was just gonna, kind of let it go. So let me just start right up, man. Get right into it, brother. What brought you to YouTube?
I started watching videos, and at the time, I basically was at a phase where I was getting hobbies. So I basically use it as a hobby, because I was like, people got stuff to say. I got time on my hands when I'm free, so I can say something too, and it just blossomed from that.
So with everything that's going on, I mean, you on media, so you know what goes on. With everything that's going on media nowadays, what do you think that what direction do you think YouTube is going, or should I say media is going, as far as black men are concerned?
As far as YouTube and black men, I think YouTube, for some odd reason, is a platform for brothers to actually speak our piece. Because when it comes to like mainstream media, we're really not there. There's a lot of people who try to speak for us, and they don't know what they're talking about. So it's a lot of guys letting their perspectives be known, And I think it's a good thing for us because now people can see how we really think and what we really feel about certain things. But I also think it's going to be as far as media in general, I think people have lost complete faith in media companies and conglomerates because they do it. They're not real. So I think now people like more genuine people just in general and who have a real message that they can actually resonate with. But that's my opinion.
Well, you know, just like anything else, media is just like anything else. There's people on here who have a solid message. You know, I think you're one of those brothers that has a solid message. Do you believe that there are people on the YouTube spectrum that shouldn't even have their ass on here?
Actually, no. The reason I said it is because sometimes you got to see a completely different side. Whether you agree or disagree with it, you got to know it exists. Because if you don't really know what you're dealing with. You can't really get a pulse of the people if you can't see all the different types of people. You're not going to like everybody because there's some people that I watched, I was like, oh God. And it's some people that I decide, you know what, I'm going to subscribe to them because let's see if they grow over time. You know.
Do you believe that? Do you think us as black men, when we're on here, you know, beefing and whatnot, you know, because there's a lot of that goes on too, you know, a lot of beefing, you know, backwards and forwards. Do you believe that the beefing hurts? Do you think that hurts us? Does it hurt our message? Does it hurt us as men in general?
I think it depends on what we're beefing about and the way we're going about it. I think there comes a point where you're going to always have a disagreement. And like I clown, and I've said this for a very long time. To me, it can't get too serious because it's the internet. Like it's not like you can go outside and, you know, drive 5 blocks away and say, what did you just say? You can't. It's the internet. So you can't really be that invested in a person you can't really come to face to face. So understand their perspective. And if you disagree with it, make your points. The beefing, I mean, a lot of times people make up, you know, but that's why I say sometimes I think it's unnecessary because of the types of things we're beefing about.
Me personally, I don't really get into, I mean, I've had my little scraps on YouTube, and I've had some people that I had to jump on because they said some stupid ass crap. But I try to stay away from that stuff. I mean, I'm more into listening to brothers who are talking about something that affects us as a people, that affects us primarily as men. I mean, those are the messages I like to listen to. And I mean, when I listen to your stuff, I'm like, I'm surprised. Because I just found out about you, like, I don't know, like a few months ago. And I was like, damn, this brother is what it is. I said, I need to subscribe to his shit. And I listened to your stuff, and not only is the shit sound and relevant, it's like you just laid back with that shit. Like, you know, you're not overbearing, you're not loud, you're not hammering people, you know, you're not vitriolic. You just kind of spit that shit out and just leave. Like, you know, like just drop the mic and shit. So, so that right there. I mean, what things do you like to talk about the most? When you turn on your mic and turn on your camera, what do you like to talk about the most?
It's a hodgepodge. That's why I have so many playlists. Because like I was telling those shaders, I said, man, you know, when I go to work, I think, because I don't watch television. Like if you know, like when you watch my videos, you hear the music in the background. Normally I just play music in the house. I don't even watch television. So I think a lot. So sometimes I might see something even on YouTube, or I might have a conversation with family or friends, and I'll be working and something happens and something will pop in my head. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to speak about that. Because if I'm thinking about it, I'm sure somebody else might be thinking about it. True. And that's really how things pop up. Like I'll go through seasons where I think right now I'm in a space where I'll talk more about culture, issues, and maybe life. There was a time I talked about relationships a lot. There was a time I talked about Black America a lot. There's a time I talked about current events. I think I just constantly go on to something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've noticed you on other brothers' platforms. I've seen you many a times on BGS, you know. So when I see you, I consider you one of the heavy hitters. You know, a lot of people that's on YouTube, they're not really heavy hitters. You know, they just kind of come in and say a bunch of shit that don't make no damn sense. And, you know, they just kind of there. But I consider you to be one of the heavy hitters. And yo, I got to, hold on a second, brother L.A.R. I got a Streamlabs now. If y'all can see it in the chat, one of my mods, please copy it so you can paste it throughout the show if you're feeling generous tonight. We live with L.A.R. Movement. Like I said earlier, look down there. The link to his channel is in the description. Make sure you subscribe. If you don't do it now, I will come and haunt you in your sleep. So make sure you subscribe to the brother's channel. You'll be glad that you did. Yeah. I see you on other brothers' platforms and shit, dropping jewels. You know, I've also seen you with ODJ and Steve the Dean and those people. When you get on, right? When you get on, do you get on as just a commentator? Do you get on as a teacher? Do you get on as a life coach, dating coach? I mean, what do you consider your platform on YouTube?
When you go on my description section, it always has my thoughts. I'm just a man just speaking my mind. I don't think I can't consider myself a life coach because I'm just giving people my experiences in life. If you get something from it, which I hope you do, I hope is able to be used practically and you become successful. Can't consider myself a dating coach because I don't really talk about how guys could get dates. I could tell you what'll work and what doesn't work, but in all honesty, a lot of that's subjective to the woman you're talking to. You know, I don't feel like I'm in a position to teach anybody. You know, I think I'm humble enough to know that I am an intelligent person, but there are people like BGS is way smarter than me. That's why I like going to BGS and listening to his videos. He's light years beyond what I could ever, you know, think about at this particular point. I just consider myself a person who came up a little rough and rugged and was able to communicate with other brothers who may need this information because they might have been in my position when I was younger.
So,
you know,
when you say rough and rugged, what you mean when you say rough and rugged?
Like my older cousin clowns me because he says, because I grew up in New Orleans on the west side of Chicago and DC, Baltimore, because my dad was moving back and forth DC. So he'd be like, you was raised in 3 different hoods, you're a crook. I'd be like, no, but what it is I've learned how to deal with poverty. I've learned how to deal with adversity. I've learned how to deal with the things that people feel like would take them under. And, you know, living in bad circumstances or people. I'm one of those people who didn't make those detrimental decisions. But it was right in front of my face to do it, you know, and it's kind of one of those things where some people, I've learned that, you know, you feel like you had it rough, but there are people who had it way worse than you. And I was able to be around people like that too. So for me, I have an appreciation for life. And plus I almost died when I was like in second grade.
Wow.
And it was an experience that made me a little bit more serious about living. And, you know, ultimately I would say like when people think about getting angry to the point they want to do things, I could tell them, I could say, look, man, you can be angry, but it's only going to be for a moment. You know, you're going to be hungry and it's going to hurt and it's going to make you think of some things. But you got to understand, if you put your mind to it, I remember there was a time I didn't have anything in the house but flour, water, and sugar. And I just made some dry cookie half pancakes. And, you know, I'm not above that. I'm not above. I was the kid who, when things got rough, you had to crumple up the toilet paper, not the toilet paper, but the newspaper to use as toilet paper. I understand that. I had the friends who was in the streets and dealing and shooting and all that stuff. And I was like, I ain't want all that, you know? So for me, it's like there's a lot out in this world that a lot of brothers don't get a chance to see because not necessarily limited resources, but a limited knowledge of what you can get out there.
I think that is a problem with a lot of us as people, because, you know, I think like 75% of Black folks never leave within a 50 square mile radius of where they were born. So you're talking about only like 25% of us, 1 out of every 4 of us will actually, you know, go and, you know, move somewhere, leave the country, move to another state, you know, go off to college. Only 1 out of 4 of us do that, man. That is like staggering numbers. And I think that has a lot to do with us as a people. I think that we have a tendency to be so short-sighted because we don't do shit. We don't go nowhere. You know, I see brothers like you, intelligent brothers, articulate, has a command of the English language. You know, you're the outliers. I mean, brothers like you aren't the norm. You're not the norm, man. You're not. The norm is that other 75%. Who has never gone nowhere, never did anything, never been anywhere, never left that city, never left that block. That's kind of the bulk of us. And I think that a lot of times that experience, or should I say the lack thereof, I think that cripples us mentally, man. It cripples us mentally. It cripples us socially. It cripples us, you know, it just cripples us as people. A lot of us, you know, as you know, a lot of us, we grow up in poverty and shit like that. And a lot of us grow up, you know, making very, very bad decisions, just like you. I often say, you know, I was only 1 or 2 bad decisions from spending my whole life in prison, being dead, being shot, you know, being, you know, only 1 or 2 bad decisions away. So what do you think about brothers who kind of act like, I don't know, that they are above that or apart from that? What's your take on those type of brothers? Or should I say those type of people?
My thing about people like that is I have to gauge if they were ever in that position. Because sometimes when you speak about coming from certain places, some people might feel like it's beneath them, but they may have never come from that. You know, I've talked about this a few times where, you know, everybody's not from the hood. And even people that live in the hood, they're not necessarily, they could come from good families and be in the hood. People forget that, you know, there's a lot of good families in the hood that are well maintained. People are together, families are together, they're intact, they have the get-togethers, the kids do everything. So people have different upbringings, even in what you would consider environment that has a majority of poverty. So, you know, there are kids like where I live at now. They would talk about. I live in the suburbs now, but the kids in the suburbs, oh, you talking about first world problems, and I laugh. I'm like, you don't even know what it's like to have a problem compared to what I grew up with. Like, you have the luxury to talk about having a first world problem, but you haven't faced the problem yet. So, for some of us brothers, I wish we could get used to being uncomfortable. Because if we can get outside of our comfort zone, we can do a lot of great things collectively.
Do you think we're too comfortable as Black folks? You think we're too comfortable?
I think we're too comfortable. I think we're too comfortable with expanding ourselves. Not the country situation or the oppression or the racism part. I think it's like when it comes to stretching yourself to be the best you could be, I think sometimes we're just comfortable. We don't want to take that extra step. And just like when you're saying, like, that's one of the things when I was a kid, which was a blessing and a curse, I guess. My parents split up, but that was part of my moving. And even when I lived in the same city, I always moved. So, I was one of those kids that you would say is unstable because I think when it came from like 1st to 8th grade, kindergarten to 8th grade, I probably went to 6 or 7 different schools. I think I went to about 6 different schools by the time I got to the 5th grade. Because I was going to school a year, sometimes twice. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the irony of it was going between New Orleans, Chicago, and the DMV, I got to see how I wanted to live and how I didn't want to live. The guys that I grew up with, if I go back to Chicago now, same people I was in high school with are still in the same neighborhood. If I go back to New Orleans, same kids I grew up with are still in the same neighborhood. Minus the Katrina thing. Like, some people filtered back. The people that I knew in the DMV, I can make a phone call and say, is such and such still there? They still there. But they never had the experience of going somewhere else. And, I wish brothers would try that. Because sometimes you go to a new place, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a whole new start, whole new possibility.
Yeah, because it's hard. I mean, it's hard to, I guess some people could do it. I know I couldn't do it. Because when I was a young guy, I lived in a lot of different places. I was raised up in New York, but, I left my parents' house when I was like 17, and I've lived in many, many different places, between then and now. Met a lot of different kind of people, had a lot of different kind of experiences, and saw a lot of different shit. And some of it probably harmed me, but I think most of it helped me. And it's my wish that more of us, even if we don't move per se, I think we need to move the goalposts of our experiences and horizons. I think that Black people are kind of sheltered. I guess that's why so much stuff happens to us, because, we all are kind of looking for like leadership, and we're looking for someone, to follow. And, it's just a lot of BS. It's a lot of BS, man. And I often say to myself, I'm like, damn, man, why are we like this? And even though we have brothers, we have brothers who get out here and talk, and, brothers like yourself, get out here and talk to people. But we are just a small little speck. We are just a speck of a speck on the back of a very giant animal when you talk about Black society. And I think the biggest problem is that there's so few of those tiny specks, but there's so many of those big ass splotches that kind of exasperate the bad and the negative and the shit that keeps us held back, and the shit that keeps us on the bottom of shit. I think it's like so much more that shit outweighs those tiny little specks, and I think that hurts us a lot too. I think a lot of us could stand some education, and when I say education, I don't just mean schools. I mean, because my definition of education has nothing to do with universities, colleges, or high school. My definition of education is when your ass go from unconscious to conscious of your own ignorance about life, about people, about, the world, about your damn self. I mean, that's when you are educated. And I think a lot of us, we lack that education, I guess, because of the way a lot of us grow up. Let me ask you about that, because you said you had a pretty tough childhood. Do you think that with the out of wedlock births that we got going on now, because it's risen somewhat, do you think that is that a symptom, or is it a problem?
I think it's both. I think it's a symptom of a bigger problem, which I think the bigger problem we may have is we don't want to accept that we are not Western civilization. Like Black people in general, as a whole, I don't care if they're in America, the Caribbean, Central and South America, or Africa. The colonized mindset does not work for us. And I think that's the bigger problem. We keep trying, we're looking at ourselves in a paradigm of, for the most part, white society. And I think that's one of the bigger problems. Because even and also the current state and context of the things that we talk about. When we talk about not marriage, but single mothers and out of wedlock households, we forget that there was a time where marriage wasn't a contract the way it is. Marriage was a family decision. And now we don't look, marriage is basically a business. So we don't, so that's an old framework of commitment that we hearken to from the past with the new context of a business. So when we raise our children, we're raising our children under a business mindset and not of a family mindset. And it damages us because, we're looking for profits. And one thing you can't do with family, or not necessarily family, but with legacy, you are not the profiter from the work you put in. Your family coming after you will be.
Yep.
Because whatever somebody gives to you and teaches you, it's for you to utilize that to give more to the next person.
Do you believe that a lot of us as Black parents, do you believe that a lot of us have failed our children?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times people think about it, because I was raised more so by my grandparents than my parents. And the thing about that I learned as the difference was, you don't have to if you don't have the money to give your child things, they can understand that. But if you have the knowledge to make them a better person and you withhold that's unforgivable. And I think the knowledge that we have as adults and as parents, we don't really pass that down like we should. A lot of our kids are ill-equipped because of our own baggage. And we have to get past that. A lot of our raising children sometimes is a child is in the middle of two people who are fighting for control and anger that has nothing to do with the child. That fails the child ultimately. I think when it comes to educating children, we let the schools educate them, but we don't teach them any skills that they could take with them in life. I remember my great grandparents and my grandmothers and my grandfather. Look, you gonna learn how to cook, clean, sew, put in drywall, cut grass, roof. If you gotta lay tile, fix cars, you're gonna have all these skills that in some way are a trade. Some electric work. If you don't, people used to teach people how to do things, put in foundations, put up houses, all kinds of stuff that they don't teach in school.
Nope.
And we're not doing that because it seems like, oh, I want you to be better than me. I don't want you to have to work like I did. But then we don't realize we're regressing because we don't know how to do things that could keep money in our pockets. And also we don't know how to do things that'll keep us self-sufficient and safe.
If we continue, I think that if we continue to go like this, if we continue to go like this, I mean, shit's just gonna get worse, man. It's never gonna get better. I would hate, because I'm a grandfather. Okay, I was one of those dudes who was really irresponsible with his penis when he was young. And, I had kids when I was really, really young. So, I mean, I'm not even 50 years old yet. And I have a 12-year-old granddaughter. Okay. And I look at my grandkids, because I have 4 grandkids right now. And I look at them and I want better for them, man. I don't want them to grow up having the same trials and tribulations and shit that we had. I want them to be better. I want them to I want to be able to pass down the skills that was passed down to me from my old man. Okay. I mean, all my life, these 2 things right here have made me money. Okay. Mm-hmm. When I couldn't make money with this, I always could make money with these, because I was raised by a man. I was raised by a blue-collar, hard-working man. So, I mean, he passed those blue-collar, hard-working skills down to me. So I don't just want my sons and daughters to have it. I want my grandkids to have it too. Okay. I want it to be 40 years from now. I want my grandsons to be able to sit where I'm sitting and say the same shit I'm saying and say it better. You know what I'm saying? And do it better. That's what I want. But what I see happening today is, especially with a lot of the millennials, I mean, these people are really unskilled, man. I mean, these people can't even change the tire on a car. Okay, they can't even turn a damn screwdriver. Like, man, what is wrong with you people? Why do you think that a lot of us, we didn't pass these things on to the millennials, if you will? What do you think kept us from what kept us from teaching kids today the things we were taught from our parents? What stopped us?
Because I was raised by my grandparents, I saw the difference between my parents and my grandparents. And my parents didn't want to, my grandparents didn't want my parents to go through the things that they went through. But they also wanted to instill in them a work ethic. And my parents kind of were enabled because they didn't face the adversities and harshness that my grandparents did. So they were the things that my grandparents were willing to do without, they passed that down to me. And my parents had more of an entitlement. So my other family members who were raised without my grandparents, they are accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle. So too much was beneath them. And my grandparents was always would teach you that nothing is beneath you, because there's knowledge in knowing everything. Like, I take my. I got an older cousin. It's like my older brother, really. Me and him grew up in my grandmother's house, and he was a professional athlete. Okay, but he was also a classical pianist and an engineer. And see, that type of covering a lot all bases was part of how the family was raised. You know, I have a great great aunt who's still alive. She was a professor for decades. My grandmother um, was she worked at Southwestern Bell, which is AT&T. And when she was a kid, my great grandfather died of cancer, and she was like basically had to raise her brothers with her mom when she was like 9. So the mentalities had become different. You know, me and my older cousin, we could play video games in the house as grown men, but we had no problem getting outside in the yard. We had no problem jogging. We had no problem playing basketball. We had no problem playing baseball. We had no problem going to the library and getting the cards and studying the work ourselves and going through the books. We had no problem, you know, having a passion for something. And if we had to figure it out ourselves, we had no problem with it. Like, I think we've taught millennials to be so in their feelings that they're never in work.
I think that with the millennials, because I look at my sons and daughters, and you know, I listen to the shit they say, and I watch how they do shit, you know, and all my children are grown, you know, they have kids of their own and all that kind of stuff. Ergo me being a damn grandfather. But you know, I listen to the shit they say, and you know, I watch how they do shit, and they're a lot lazier than I was when I was younger. I guess because when I was younger, I had them, so I had to do more. Um, they kind of have they have a work ethic. I mean, I taught them that, but they also are more of, I like to call them DPs, digital people. You know, everything is the phone. You know, they don't, you know, you ask them what time it is, they don't look at their watch, you know, because men, we wear watches. You ask them what time it is, they look at their phone. You know, you ask them something, they go Google it on their phone. You know, everything is like, you know, they DPs, they like they digital people with everything. You know, they don't feel the need to like carry shit up here because, you know, they carry it all here. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't have to carry nothing up here because it's all here. And I think that has made them kind of complicit. It's left a lot of empty space in people's brains, I should say, you know, because they don't have to hold a lot up there. You know, they kind of let the damn phone be their brain and shit. And I think that hurts them. I think it hurts Black society as well. But let me ask you this. What do you think brothers like you and I and others, what do you think brothers would have done if there was no YouTube? Do you think that brothers could have came up with like a forum like this where we can get on, make videos, talk? Do you think that Black people, you think we would have been able to do that?
I think we could have been able to do it. I don't necessarily it would have been more difficult. I don't know how people would have gravitated to it. I think we've done a lot of things historically, but people don't gravitate to what we do until it's over. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think there's a lot of great brothers, even on YouTube, who won't get their just due maybe until years later. And
who do you watch? Like who are your people on YouTube?
Oh, I've always watched Mr. Superboy 223. I've always watched him. I started watching him when I started watching YouTube. It was him, the Advice Show, Jay Miller Speaks Out. When I very first started, so I've stuck with them forever and a day. I'll go through spells I've watched. Like I watched Super Sly. He makes me laugh. Of course, with O'Shea and BGS. Like when it comes like BGS and Ron Wills, like when I wake up in the morning, Ron Wills uploads his video early, so I can listen to his videos the minute I get up in the morning. So like he's who I listen to like right before I go to work. Oh, not right before I go to, but right before I get up to go to work out. I listen to Ashley W. I just recently got on her page. Years ago, I actually used to listen to Tommy Sotomayor, and I was like, I phased out of that. I listened to Tariq. I've listened to Polite. I've listened to Sadnetta a little bit. But for the most part, I watch a lot of boxing on YouTube. A lot. Because I got a boxing podcast. So I watch a lot of stuff like that. I watch the Young Turks to see what their news stuff. I don't really rock with them like that, but I watch them. I'll listen to Chrissy, Cynthia G, Infinite Wisdom. It really just depends on the day. Like I'm not above people that I don't. My only rule is I'm on Black Authority, Jada Black, God dog it, Professor Truth. Like I listen to predominantly Black people, and if you name them, I might be subscribed to them. I can't listen to everybody at the same time, so I'm like seasonal with it.
Yeah, that's how I am too. I mean, it's hard to listen to all your subscriptions, goddamn it.
Yeah. So I just go through men, women, Tone Talk, Zoe Williams, man, it pretty much everybody that I could think of. If you say their name, I might be subscribed to them. I just depends on when's the last time I watched them.
Yeah, well, these YouTube streets, as I like to refer to them as, they're rough, man. I mean, these streets are rough, man, sometimes. And because like I said earlier, like I was telling you before, I've had some run-ins here and there. I mean, I don't have that many run-ins now. I have people who come, they come on your page and they say some crazy shit. And see, I'm the type of person like this. I mean, you talk shit to me, you could bring your ass on here. Okay. You can get on here and whatever, because I have done it. I mean, if y'all wasn't looking to my files, y'all look back. I went head to head with some people called the Afro-American home teachers, homeschool teachers. So I think so. African-American home educators. That's who they were. Gotcha. Because they had came on one of my pages, man, and they were going ham on one of my videos. And I was like, I said, look, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. All right. You want to air some differences with me? I got 2 platforms you can bring your ass on it. And you know what? They showed up. Yeah, they showed up. They actually showed up. Yeah, they don't. They want to hide behind their damn avatar, and talk shit and live vicariously through someone else. See me, I don't go on people's YouTube page just to hate on them. That I don't do. I mean, if I look at your video and I don't like your video, I just won't say anything. Yeah, I won't say anything. If I got a problem with it, I just won't say anything. I just won't watch you no more. I'm not going to come to your channel. All right. And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I'm not going to come on your channel just to say some negative shit to you. Because, see, that's like me coming to your house and you hear people say, oh, well, it's a public platform. Fine. If you want to look at it like that. If you go to New York City, you go to places like Fordham Road in the Bronx and Fulton Street in Brooklyn. You got vendors, street vendors. They all up and down those strips. guess what? They all selling their wares, all right, out in the public. You can't walk to one of those brothers' booths or tables, okay, and don't see nothing you like and start telling him, because brothers sell, hats and
Mhm.
and phone covers and belts and all kinds of shit. You can't go up there and say, hey, look, man, I like iPhone phone covers. All you got is Android. You know what you should do? You should start selling iPhone covers. You can't do that. You look at his booth. If he don't got the shit you like, you move on. So I mean, that's kind of the approach that I take. But a lot of brothers don't take that approach. I mean, I guess they kind of we throw this word around a lot, and I don't really believe it. People say, "Oh, brother, he's getting emotional." I don't think it's always emotional. Matter of fact, let's talk about that.
Here's it. Like, because I didn't realize I had been on YouTube for as long as I had. That's the irony of it, right? But I had been on it long enough to learn some things. If somebody says something negative to me or quote unquote trolls me, I really I don't pay attention to it for numerous reasons. One is it seems like my page has been monitored for a while. So sometimes I don't get messages that people send me until later. Like by the time I get the message, it's like, well, whatever, and sometimes they go to spam and then I got to approve them later and I didn't know, that type of thing. I've been in those situations where I was around when people used to make dummy pages and troll other people's pages as somebody else. So I've saw that, been witnessed that. So somebody says something like, you may not be a dummy page no more, but or somebody who's instigating with somebody else, but I don't take it seriously because if I don't see your face, you don't have any videos, we ain't got nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I've also known that some people who are not in our community have accounts and they want to keep strife in our community. And sometimes it's easy to peep those people out because they don't communicate like we do. Just because we all talk in English doesn't mean we communicate the same.
Agreed. Agreed.
So, but as far as the emotional part, I think sometimes people get a kick out of getting a rise out of somebody and then want to act like that's not why they did it. If you pick a fight with a person and then you get a fight, you don't go, oh, how you getting emotional to fight. You came there to start drama, so you getting what you asked for. I think a lot of people just don't really want the drama that they asking for. I think they're like playing with fire, and that's childish to me, but people do it.
Yeah, well, media allows people to remain like Peter Pan. A lot of people on media, it allows them to not grow up. They can do little juvenile, immature shit and say juvenile, immature shit to people, and flag channels and spam the hell out you, troll you, write you bullshit emails and bullshit comments. I mean, a lot of people actually get a kick out of that shit. And I guess that's got a lot to do with their personality.
Well, hold up. I will say this. Some people don't realize a person will send you a comment. They just copied and pasted that and sent it about to 25 people.
Exactly.
And some people don't realize that, like, you can click on it and then click on a page and then you see the same thing that they wrote you as a comment for like 15 other videos.
Yep. Because that's what they felt like spending their day doing. They felt like, well, today I'm going to copy and paste some comments and paste them on like 25 different videos. They actually had that thought when they got up this morning. I think that's a problem with us, man. I think we as people, man, and don't get me wrong, man, I love my people, man, but I just think we spend a lot of time focused on so much BS, man. I mean, we all got some BS with us, man, but I think a lot of us, man, that's like our primary objective, to like do this nonsense stuff, man. Like, that's like a priority in our life. We put that above anything else. Because when you somewhere, when you somewhere and you doing this kind of shit, you know what you're not doing? You're not doing something to enhance your life. You're not doing something to contribute to your own growth. And if you got kids, guess what else you're not doing? You're not doing something to help them. You're not doing something to help them grow, because while you're doing this nonsense, because people put hours into this nonsense, fighting people on Facebook and like you said, copy and pasting a comment on 25 different YouTube channels. This stuff takes time. So the time that you're doing that's time that you're not doing something else, something positive. That's time that your ass ain't reading a book. That's time that your ass ain't trying to exercise, or because we as Black people, we have so many things going on with us. I mean, our weight problem, our diseases, illiteracy, a family structure. I mean, I could spend the rest of this platform talking about it. There's so many different things we could be focused on as opposed to screwing with people. There's so many different things. Why do you think, I know what I think it is, why do you think we as people, brother L.A.R, spend so much time and waste so much time on crap like that?
Okay, I'm about to get blunt and real as I can be on this.
Absolutely. We wouldn't have it any other way.
I think we're committed to negativity because we're well versed in it, and we're afraid of positivity. Because the work that it takes to maintain something positive and make something beautiful out of life, we kind of shy away from that. We would rather, kick over, like when I was in college, we used to play Monopoly. When a person gets mad, they smack the whole game off of the table. That was real easy to do. And I think we're like that because we know, okay, I could just ruin this game and walk away. But when it comes to actually putting in the work and time to bring something positive to your life and people around you, I think we're afraid of that. Because even a lot of the inner strife that we have in our community, whether it be family, friends, violence, relationship, whatever you put it to, it seems the one constant is everybody's afraid of love. When I came up, everybody could tell you, I'm not afraid to die. As a matter of fact, in New Orleans, I was born. My family's born in the Ninth Ward. One of the phrases is, "I'm from the 9 and I don't mind dying."
Wow.
But when it came to life, people just couldn't. Everything was, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I don't want to try this new thing. I don't know. I don't want to be vulnerable to maybe, going on another level. I don't know. Everybody was stuck in that negativity. You had to drag people out into something positive.
We, as a people, and I can include my Black ass in the equation too, we are so used to living our experiences as opposed to creating new ones. And I say that because, a lot of us as Black people, we grow up with, these experiences, these horrible experiences. I can go on and on about those too, but a lot of us grow up with these experiences. And I think that we carry it with us. And I talked about this last week, that a lot of us carry a lot of resentment, like inner resentment that we don't even know we have. A lot of us resent the way we grew up. A lot of us resent our mothers, our fathers, our lifestyle, the poverty we endured, the lack of a mother, the lack of a father, the lack of love, the lack of food, the lack of clothes, the lack of Nike sneakers. I mean, I think a lot of us grow up with so much resentment about things. And a lot of us just haven't dealt with it. So what happens is, I think we have like these coping mechanisms. Brother Cerulean Gray talks about this a lot. Shout out to Cerulean
Oh
Gray.
yeah, it's a ruling off the chain. Yeah.
Oh man, Cerulean straight fire, man. Brother Cerulean says that a lot of the things that go on with us as Black folks are just coping mechanisms. That's how we cope. And I think that a lot of the coping is due to that inner resentment, especially as we get to be adults. I think a lot of that, the coping things, the coping mechanisms we use are to deal with that inner resentment that we don't even know a name for. We probably think it's something else, but we have that inner resentment of how we grew up and our experiences, and we cope with it that way. I mean, that's what I think a lot of this stuff comes from. That's why I go back again to, because case in point, right? And I talked about this last week too. We often talk about how the family structure within Black society is broken, and it is. There's no denying that. When you got 7, 8 out of 10 kids growing up without their father, growing up without a stable home or balance, that's a problem. When you have these type of situations, though, you would think that once a child is born, right? Child is born, right? And then even 2 children, even if it's 3 children, you would think at some point, even if these children, father is nowhere in sight, right? Those children are still with that mother. Therefore, that mother should be focused on those children's development, those children's growth, those children's ability to read, write, count, speak, learn, understand. I mean, because the father's nowhere around, fine, I'll give you that. He's nowhere around, but you're around, okay? You are around. You're there. So why are you not focused on those kids' education? Why are you not focused on those kids learning how to read, write, and count? Why are you not focused on making sure these kids use proper English? Why your Black ass ain't up at the school at those PTA meetings? I mean, when my kids were young, right? And when my kids were young, I was actually with their mother. And I used to go to the PTA meetings. I mean, their mother didn't. I used to go. And I would go there, and the school that my children went to was 65% Black. You're talking about 2 out of 3 students was Black. You know how many Black people was there besides me at those teachers' meetings? None. You're talking 2 out of 3 of the student body is Black. And I would be the only one there. It'd be me and a bunch of the white folks and a few Hispanics and 1 or 2 Asians. That's it. And it was like that the whole time my children went to that school. And even back then, because you're talking some years, okay? You're talking years ago when I was a young guy. I was in my 20s. I thought that was like totally bizarre.
I'm going to take this back a little bit. When you were talking about resentment, even when these families are broken, or just, they're not, or the parents aren't in the same household, one of the biggest things that creates this resentment from the parents that are single parents to the children that grew up under single parents, these kids don't know who they are because their parents don't know who they are. Because one of the things that gets broken, you don't know your family history. See, a lot of this resentment comes from failures, all you know, because you don't know your successful family, because you don't know your family history. A lot of adults don't know how great they can be because they weren't told about the great people in their own family. They may get a one-sided view, and that view may be from an ostracized or exiled family, or a family that just is too hush mouth to tell the whole truth. And I'm not even talking about talking negative. I'm just talking about talking positive about people. You know, I remember so many people, oh man, you're going to be the first generation to do this and the first generation to do that. And the funny part about it, even when I learned in my own family, when I started learning about my family members and their parents and their grandparents and their uncles and their aunts and their situations, you know, it started changing my viewpoint on what I can be. You know, I got family members who were sharecroppers who wound up owning land and oil. So if I know I got a great uncle who could do that, I don't have a limitation for myself. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't have that because they don't talk. They're too busy in their feelings about something, and their kids suffer. And it's okay to, and the crazy part about it is it's okay to be in your feelings. It is. But it's not okay to want to marinate and stay in your feelings every day and wallow in them. You have other people that depend on you. Like the same thing you were talking about, the teaching in the community. One of my best, after I learned my family history, one of the best things I learned, the place I call home is on the west side of Chicago. That's even though I wasn't born there, that's the place that I hold the most dear. I grew up there. I became a young man there. I got my mind frame from there. That's the home of Fred Hampton. Sometimes when you go places, the energy and spirit of productive people is still there. And we're not able to pay attention and to tap into things that are still there. We're not learning our greatness and our history. And the weirdest thing is, I kind of honestly started a love of history and our people through my grandparents' love of music. We wasn't allowed to listen to Too Short in the house. They told me, one of the first lessons I was taught, ain't nothing new under the sun. And a lot of us are starting brand new, like everything is new under the sun, because we're not passing down information and we're not seeing how there's nothing new under the sun. And, and that's one of the, I think, the major things we have to change. We already had scientists, physicists, mathematicians, inventors. You had that in your own family. You probably don't even know it. If a kid says, I don't know what I could be, you could be a lot of things. You could be a whole lot of things. That's some things we have to really, really do better in, because and the weird part about it is small things can make a big difference. Like, it freaked me out. I saw my son smile over two small things. One, he never had a milkshake. And two, we went fishing. And he enjoyed it, but he just didn't catch a fish. He got competitive because he wanted a fish. And we don't realize we're not opening up our society to do things. I wish we got to get past that.
Well, you're a single father, right? You're a single father. You're a single father?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't live with me anymore, but yeah.
Well, talk about that. Single fatherhood. Now, I think that's probably one of the most magnificent things, because we already know the percentages of single fatherhood versus single motherhood. We don't even have to go into that. We all pretty much know the stats on that. What is that like? What's it like to be like a single father? Because you have a book too, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and plug your book, man. We didn't even plug that.
Sorry, lessons from a non-custodial father. It's at Amazon Kindle Create Space. Actually, when you go to my videos, it's a link to it in the description section under the My Thoughts part. When I say My Thoughts, and then it's the link.
Get that book, or I'll haunt you in your sleep. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother L.A.R.
The first thing is, being a single father lets you know the realities that single mothers have to deal with. So there's certain things you being a single father, it'll make you respect. And then there are certain things you be like, you're pushing it. It ain't that difficult. So one thing is the time. You got to put a lot of work in when you're taking care of a kid. But people don't want to say it properly. If you train a child the way you want them to go, you know the saying. You put in the time early, your child can graduate faster to other things. And a lot of us, that's part of the parenthood part that we're missing. Because a lot of times kids are going through the same thing over and over and over and over again because we're really not teaching them fully. We're giving them half-ass training. Brothers talk about like child support. I'm gonna be real with fellas. If you got a kid under the age of 5, if you're not paying at least $800 to $1,000 a month in child support, you're really coming out ahead.
Absolutely. I second that.
Yeah, because y'all don't know how much it costs to put these young kids in daycare all the time, and driving and picking them up and feeding them and clothes. Like, I've been there. Like sometimes when they're from the ages from birth to 5, if they're in the daycare, you might be covering 2.5, maybe 3 weeks of daycare expense. If you're in the $400 range, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all don't know how much this stuff costs per week. As they get older, it's different. When they're school age, that's a different thing. For some of you fellas who think that your child may lack discipline because you never gave them a schedule, and I think this is where a lot of single mothers mess up. A lot of single mothers don't have a structure. They have structure being around a woman per se, but not structure as far as a household. So a lot of times the issue comes in, the kids don't go to sleep at a good time. The kids don't eat at a certain time. The kids don't bathe at a certain time. The kids don't have a schedule. The only schedule they get is from daycare or school. They don't have one at home. They don't have a study time. It's just when we get to the house, we're gonna eat, you're gonna watch TV, fall asleep. They don't have a regimen. And a lot of brothers, you could bring that into your kids' lives, one way or the other. And like I can't take credit for this, but I helped one of my homeboys get his son. And he has him now, and there's a big difference. And for a lot of cats, the way you approach raising a child is use yourself as an example. Not the what I didn't get as a child, but use yourself as a guy for, okay, these are the things that I know of. Because when my son lived with me, I had to go to women at times because they had raised children before. Okay, what give me some options to work with my child with. Because you're gonna always need people to bounce ideas off of. You can't do it completely by yourself. If you're a father or a single mother, if you go with that ideology that, oh, I got this and it's just me and me alone, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail your child horribly. Because you had parents, you had grandparents, You had aunts and uncles. You had cousins and siblings that you played with. Don't isolate yourself and isolate your child and think you're protecting them from something, because you're not. You need to expose them to more positive people than isolate them from the idea that everything in the world is negative. I think with mothers take their independence too far because they realize they can't protect their children like a father can. And instead of working with a father, sometimes they isolate themselves to the point where they're a detriment to their own child. And they don't get that, you know. Like I said in my book, I do it in real life. My son's in 6th grade right now. So this summer, he comes in the summers now. But I'm using the summers in particular. I'll buy a 6th grade, buy a 6th grade workbook for the school year. So when we come home, I don't watch TV. I give him the workbook. He gets random pages. Do your schoolwork. This is summertime schoolwork. Do your schoolwork. So by the time he gets to school, it never fails. When my son gets to school, that first semester, that first half is A's and B's, just straight down the board. Because he's already ahead of his schoolwork. He already knows his assignment. And that goes along with the life lessons. You know, I think us as fathers, sometimes we got to take the losses, man. It's not going to be fair for us. And for us to believe that it is, sometimes we're going to work in relationships with parents and other family members who are going to be working against us. And you're going to have to eat that. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to be cool. It's not right. But do you want your child to grow up and function? Or do you want to argue every day? You can argue when it's over. Trust me. Because I was a kid who was raised by a single mother. You know, most guys and most men and women I know who are raised by single mothers, by the time they become adults, they come home with real serious questions. And they start looking at their parents a whole completely different way, especially when they have kids. You'll know if you do right by your child when your child comes to you as an adult and has children and says, you know, I get this now. Or they say, you don't know what the hell you was doing.
You had no idea what you were doing.
Yeah. So, you know, I think some of us brothers take this stuff sometimes too far, and some of the mothers take it too far. And what I despise personally, if you're teaching your child a bad habit, when your child grows up, don't act like you didn't teach him that. If you teach your child disrespect and they go out in public and be disrespectful, don't sit there and play stupid. That didn't come out of nowhere. If you teach your child to be manipulative and they go out manipulating people and then they get in trouble, don't act like you didn't teach them that. You know, if you teach your child right, I don't care if they're in a single parent household or 2-parent household, they're going to go out in the world and do right. You know, some kids are naturally better than others in certain things. But you got to teach them how to deal with adversity and win in life and lose in life. You know, a lot of us brothers, we don't want to admit that even for using the extreme, even if you've been shut out, even if you feel like you've been shut out, when you're available, give them the real. They'll still respect that.
Oh yeah. I agree totally. I think that's a lot of times, man, as you know, as people, we have a tendency to I mean, we BS, man. And I think the worst thing you can do is, because when we talk about these things, right? Like you, me, other brothers, we all on YouTube and media and everywhere else. And we talk about these things that, some of the things that are wrong in black society, some of the things that are missing in black society, some of the things it's going to take to build black society, so on and so forth. But in reality, who we're really talking to, and we don't realize it, we're talking to the people who haven't made those mistakes yet. We're talking to the people who may have children and can pass it on to their children. Because, see, if you're a 35-year-old brother and you got 10 baby mamas, no matter what I tell you, it's kind of too late for you. You don't already squandered. Your shit squandered already. So we're kind of talking to the children, and we're talking to the people who have children, because these things need to be passed down to them, because this stuff falls on deaf ears of people who have already screwed up their lives. You can't tell someone, hey, make sure you don't have kids till you married if she already got 7 kids.
Right.
Yeah, you can't tell her that. So we're trying to pass these things on, and pass these ideas on, because we really, in reality, I think we want them to go down to the children. Okay, because this is something that Frederick Douglass said, man, and I quote this a lot. Frederick Douglass says, it is easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. And that is true. It's easier to raise strong children than it is to try to fix some of these grown folks. Because some of them, they just broken, and they just, some of them they're just going to remain broke. They're going broke right to the grave. They're going to the grave. True. Broken. Now, some of them are going to, change their ways, because I'm a true believer that black people need to not just open their minds, but they need to change them. That's one of our biggest problems. A lot of us just can't change our damn minds. We can't change our thinking. So how the hell are we going to change our behavior?
Oh, man. Because of that, this is one of a dilemma, especially when it comes to older and younger. We are probably the only community that expects our youth to bring us out of our situation. And the problem with that is, some of these older people don't understand that if your youth bring you out of the situation, they have no loyalty or responsibility to you as an elder. Because the way we're not passing down knowledge, legacy, anything. We just pass down the responsibility to bring us out of this. So if you have some child who becomes great, and you gave them nothing to work with, and they figured it out and became some type of savant on their own, you can't eat off of them. You know what I'm saying? So like, even though I believe in teaching the youth, I believe in that quote, but I also think about when in that quote, it's like, man, you do realize that might not help the generation coming under those kids that learn, because this is part of the reason why we got the I got mine, get yours mentality. This is part of the reason why part of the reason our community stays where it is honestly due to the fact that we keep starting from scratch with each generation. Nobody builds upon anything. And we don't pass down responsibility. We don't like, I was talking to one of my older family members about this. Say I had a donut business, right? Everybody liked the donuts, and it was time to pass on the donut business. and my kids say, I don't want the donut business. I want to do X, Y, and Z. We don't have the forethought in our family to say, listen, you're going to do the donut business because it makes money. That money that it makes gives you the money to do the X, Y, and Z that you really want to do. All you have to do is keep doing that for your financial purpose and keep making the money. And then you can do both things, because the business isn't for you. The business is for the people coming after you. You know, and we're not passing down our knowledge like that. I don't know the things my granddad knew, because my uncles never told me. You know,
when we start from scratch, right? You would think that when you start from scratch that you would be coming with a new formula or a new idea or a new frame of mind. But I think it's just the opposite with us. I think that that's the problem. The starting from scratch is taken from the old way. It's not the new shit. It's not the new shit, because the new shit is what we got going on right now. Taken from the old formula, from our grandparents and great grandparents. That if we started from scratch there, we might be better off.
mm-hmm.
And like you said, we always start from scratch, but we always start from scratch with the wrong shit.
Yeah.
The wrong shit. It's not like we start from scratch with the good ingredients and, you know, the non-bleached flour, and, you know, we start from scratch with the bullshit. You know, we start from scratch with all the bullshit ingredients and wondering why the cake ain't coming out right, when we should be using the shit that grandma used to use, that great grandma used to use.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where they churned the butter, where they made their own ice cream and shit like that, canned their own fruits. I mean, we are starting with some old, designer concoction that just isn't working. The shit ain't working.
You remember how you said health? I clown my friends about this all the time. I say, you notice our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents didn't have these damn health problems.
Nope.
So I was like, so we're basically so lazy and living in luxury to the point where we're killing ourselves by being leisurely. Like, there is no the obesity in our community is a problem. Not because, you know, we could talk about, oh, we all had soul food, right? But we don't remember our family looking like it does now, eating soul food.
Nope.
Like, people seem to forget that. Like, you know what killed black people when we was kids? Strong alcohol, super strong cigarettes, and racism.
Yep.
It wasn't the food.
Yep.
You know, people live a very long time back in the day.
With way more white supremacy.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I know, and I say this a lot, and I say this on a lot of my streams, and yeah, we live with brother L.A.R. movement. Make sure you go down here, subscribe to his channel, because if you don't, I'll haunt you in your sleep. Make sure you jump on, get his book. If one of my mods, please put the link to brother L.A.R.'s book, if you would, up there too. Make sure you get that book too, because that'll also cause me to haunt you in your sleep if you don't. I think as black folks, brother L.A.R. I think we spend a lot of time focused on white folks. We blame a lot of shit on white folks. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the white power structure has a lot of effect on how black people live. I know white supremacy has a damn effect on how black people live. I understand that completely. But we have brothers nowadays who blame everything on white supremacy. If they damn phone get cut off, they're like, oh my God, white supremacy caused my phone to get cut off. I couldn't pay my bill because, white supremacy got my money. Therefore, white supremacy caused my phone to get, it's like, they blame it for every goddamn thing. White supremacy is the reason for everything. White supremacy is the reason it rains outside. White supremacy is the reason that the tire is flat in your damn car. White supremacy is the reason why your ass can't freaking get out your goddamn bed in the morning. Like, come on. I think that we spend way too much time worrying about white supremacy. What you think?
I think because we're in America, we're not free. But I'm gonna say this as blunt as I can say it. If you waste your life worrying about white supremacy and not doing the best you can for your life, that wasn't white supremacy's fault. Why? The minute you fall asleep and wake up and you get another day, white supremacy don't control that day. White supremacy doesn't control your life, really, to be perfectly honest. The reason I say that is because they tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? In a country that they've never pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Everybody is on their own in this country. Even though, we as a people, we're going to get the second least benefit, because we forget the quote unquote Native American. They've basically, we forgot that they even still in this country. It's like 35 of them left. We don't even consider them part of the equation no more. But at the end of the day, what are you doing for you and your family? My granddad went to the Korean War, not to fight white supremacy or to fight for white supremacy, but to put food on the damn table. He didn't let white supremacy stop him from taking care of my mother and my aunts and uncles. My grandmother bust her ass 30-some years, not because of white supremacy, because she had children to feed. My family members who went to Vietnam, it wasn't about Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? My family members who went to college, my family members who learned to trade, my family members who were truck drivers. All of this, they wanted to be things in life outside of white supremacy. My football coach said something when I was in high school that stuck with me to this day. You're gonna make it in two ways in this life, either because of or in spite of. So if you want to make it, it's gonna be one of the two. The question is what you're willing to do. And some of us don't want to admit we ain't willing to do that much.
I think I could respect that if a person just say, you know what, man, I don't want to do shit. Now, I wouldn't think much of that person, but I would at least respect the fact that they're saying that, as opposed to saying, oh man, I can't get up out the bed today because of white supremacy. I can't freaking walk out in my yard because of white supremacy. I don't want to read a book because of white supremacy. Come on, man. That's another thing. We gotta stop that shit, man. We gotta stop blaming white folks for every damn thing. I got people that I know, that I talk to, Man, they blame the white man for everything. I mean, everything. At what point? At what point do you take responsibility for your own self? I mean, you trying to tell me that the reason why your black ass ain't got no money is because of white supremacy, or is it because your ass don't got a job? I mean, you trying to tell me that you can't read or write because of white supremacy, is, or is it that you never thought about going to take a literacy course? I mean, these it's just BS, man. A lot of this stuff is just BS. It's straight BS. And we got people who coddle that shit, man. I think that's a problem too.
I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I'm a clown. Real life, I joke a lot. But in my family, I'm also one of the people that will hit you upside the head with a 2x4 if you come at me with that bullshit. And the coddling, I despise. I don't want to hear that shit. Oh, it's because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because if you come to my house and you telling me, you ain't going to do nothing, or you, because of this thing and that thing, don't go in my refrigerator and pick out no food. Because I had to go get that. I had to work for that money to get that food in spite of all the shit that's going out in the world. You're not going to come over to my house and fill your damn stomach up. No. You're not going to go in my closet and pick out my clothes that you feel like you like. No. You're not going to borrow my car and drive all the way around it and you no. And, I come from one of those families that is flat out tell you, like, I got family members like that. They'll come to your house. Y'all stupid for buying into this system. Y'all idiots. I don't know why the hell y'all out here working. Y'all just enriching the white man. Could you pass the mashed potatoes, please? No.
Mm-hmm.
Get your fucking ass out of here. Why? Because we stupid for putting mashed potatoes on this fucking on this table. So go starve outside. Could you give me a ride? No. I'm stupid for buying a car from white supremacy and putting gas in it, and I was stupid for picking you up. You know what? Be smart and walk home.
And he leaves.
Oh, no, he don't leave, and he get. You know what, brother? Look, it's not like that, brother. I was no. We gotta cut that out.
Let me tell you something. Because I got people that I know that are like that too. I got people in my family who are just like that. And I'm kind of the same way. Like, I mean, you're telling me the white supremacy shit, but you say you face all this white supremacy. All this white supremacy stuff is around you, right? But somehow I must be facing it too, because you talk about it so much. I guess I'm facing it too. But for some reason, the white supremacy that I'm facing, you're willing to utilize the shit that I've got within this white supremacy system, that same system that you claim you can't get nothing out of. That's where they kind of lose me, because I hear that same shit too. I always hear, oh, the white man this, the white man that, the white man this. Oh, why you do this with the white man? Because I own a business, right? Everybody who knows me, they know I own a power mechanic shop, right? I've owned it for a few years, and 65% of my customer base are white people. Those are people who, 2 out of 3 of my customers that come to my shop, they Caucasians. Hey, I don't give a shit. Money's money. Right. Now, I have people, because I used to have my shop on another side of town. I moved my business when I moved. All right. I moved to another part of town, better part of town, moved to a bigger house. And so I decided to move my shop when I moved. Mm-hmm. Now, where I live at now, the neighborhoods that I live in is like 60% white, 60% white, maybe 20-30% Asian, and the rest is just Hispanics and Negroes. We kind of mixed in there. Now, where I lived before, the neighborhood was primarily black and Hispanic. So I have people that have told me, "Oh man, you moved your business, man, and now you over there, you know, and you taking the white man's money, and you move your business over there with the white folks." And I said, "Look, I said first of all, when I was, and everybody have heard this story before, I will tell it again. When I was in the black part of town, you know what percentage of my business was black? 5%. That's it. In a primarily black part of town.
Right.
5%. Sometimes it dipped to as low as 3.5%. Everything else, white, Hispanic, and Asians. The crazy thing is, since I've moved in the so-called white area, do you know what percentage of black business that I have now? 10%. Mm-hmm. My black business has risen since I've moved to the quote-unquote white part. Now, I say that to say this. We, as black people, we always say we should buy black, we should patronize black folk stuff, we should build the hood, we should do all this shit. We always saying that. But me, as a black business owner, let me tell you something. Brothers do not come to your shit. All right? Mm-hmm. They don't. They don't patronize you. People talk that shit, but they don't. Even when you in the middle of a bunch of them. Like I said, my black business has doubled since I moved away from the primarily black area. Make sense.
I'm glad you said that. Like, I'm into that. When I see something, I jump on it. So there's this black business by my house. I work near my job. So they have a small seafood stand, right? And I told my coworkers, I said, you know what? Somebody told me that they might be opening it. So I said, I'm going to go over there. So people feel like, you know, I look at the menu, and I've been to other restaurants, and I'm like, they cost more. It's like, so what? It's like, what do you mean? I said, well, here's the thing. Where else you go as a black person, we always say we want to support each other and see our faces. I said, here's where we fuck up. Excuse my French. If you see somebody starting small, we just walk right by them. Instead of just going over there and saying, yo, I'm going to go see what they're working with. Because we get treated bad in everybody else's business and don't think nothing of it. And for all the black businesses and the black people that I've worked with, I'm going to tell you the best thing I can see was when you look at a black business owner in their eyes and you respect them on the humble and you buy their product and you let them know you coming back and they know you mean it. You know, because it's like, okay, we doing good business here. And a lot of us don't really understand. One of the reasons why we don't have as much black business is because we don't walk in there with respect for the business owner that we should. You know, we don't respect them as people, let alone the products. But we walk into these other establishments, and all of a sudden we don't want to say we walk around talking about we Django, but when we walk in white establishment, we Steven.
Yep. Exactly.
You know, we got to support each other, but not just hypothetically, but in respect. You know, I've been pulled over by the police, not leaving my neighborhood. Black cop. I don't go off on him. I treat that man like, hey, he's a man for one, but he's a black man, so I give him the utmost respect. Even if police officer, whatever. You know what? He'll look at me, even if he give me a ticket or he let me go. We're cordial. We understand that, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've been places and dealt with my own people and wondered like, what's, you know, when I would go out to other restaurants out here in Houston, I would go places, and sometimes if I see people are going at a jip, like the last time I went to this particular restaurant, people were sitting at the bar, just, you know how people just get there and babysit, they don't want to buy nothing. So I was like, okay, y'all really shortchanging this place. So what I did was I bought the people next to me drinks, not for them, you know what I'm saying, but for the business, because you're not gonna sit at the establishment at their table and just act like you just gonna be there and not do nothing there. You know, we don't take into consideration. We have to respect each other to the point. Talk with our dollars. Talk with our time. Talk with our knowledge. Talk with our effort. We have to have effort for one another. And just like you said, when you went to the white neighborhood, basically your black consumers doubled. You know why? And most of y'all brothers probably already know this. If you move out of the hood, you're going to deal with black people who have more effort. It's not that they're any different from you. They just have more effort than you. They're intentional about their actions.
They respect your business. They respect your business more too. That's what I found. Because I have a few diehards that's been with me like since the beginning. You know, they kind of followed me over, but most of the black business that I have now, you know, they're new people. You know, they're people that I, you know, that have become part of my, you know, part of my customer base since I moved to the other part of town. Because I moved about 40 minutes away from where I was. Mm-hmm. And these brothers have because some of the people that I had when I was on the other side, when I lived on the other side of town, they were full of shit. I mean, they would come and they always wanted the discount, and they want shit off, and you know, they want they want shit off of shit that's already on the clearance rack and all that kind of shit. But you know, the brothers that I have now, you know, they have more respect, I guess, because a lot of them are businessmen themselves. A lot of the people that I dealt with over there, they weren't really businessmen. They were just people who were trying to get something fixed, and hopefully they could pay $50 for something that was worth $100, you know, that kind of shit. But the people I deal with now are more businessmen. You know, they have companies, you know, they know about business, you know, they understand business. So we have a different understanding. We have a better understanding as opposed to the people I used to deal with on the other side of town who was just looking to, you know, trying to get something from me for $50 that they would give a white man 120 for. You know, it was one of those kind of things. You know, the white man's ice is colder, so I'm willing to pay more for it. You know, that kind of shit. So, I mean, I think there's way too much of that between us. And like you said, we don't really have that respect for each other. I think because, and I say this a lot too, we're prejudiced. We are prejudiced against each other. When we see a black man, we automatically go into, you know, he's not worthy of the same white man respect mode. You know, we go into that mode, man. We do. You know, we want to deal with a black man differently than we deal with a white man. So we go right into that mode where, you know, the black man don't deserve as much respect as the white folks. You know, that's where we go. And I think that's a problem, man. I mean, and we pass that shit down to our kids.
Watch this. I try to subliminally do this to my son. I normally don't buy him clothes unless it's is it a quote unquote black brand, at least by face or name. You get what I'm saying? I wouldn't. If I had him I bought some polo shirts. They was like truck fit polo shirts. Had a little black kid face with a black skateboard on it. Because I wanted him to be accustomed to seeing his own type of face and his own type of people on even the things he wore. If I buy him books, there'll be books written by black authors. You know, like And we don't realize how, if you got to get people accustomed to that. And when you get them accustomed to that, they will support other black people, because truth be told, nobody's ice is cold. It's just your mentality is dumber. Because most people don't realize it. If somebody has a good product, everybody going there. Everybody. Because what you don't have in America right now is good business. You don't have good customer service in this country. So at some point, people they go places where they feel welcome, where they feel like they're getting the most for their money, and where they feel like they're getting appreciated. And when we go around not valuing our own people, we can't expect, we as a people need to stop expecting white people to validate us for being good. And we got to stop having that, oh, well, if the white people don't like you, then until they like you, I ain't going to like you. Like, no. We had way more in life when we valued each other. We got so many people talking about Black Wall Street and all the cities in America that had these great black economies. But we forget one thing about that. We valued each other's products. We could have that tomorrow if we wanted to. Somebody have a black insurance company. You know what? I'm going to cancel my insurance and I'm going to go with that black company. That's all it takes. You know, I don't want to go to McDonald's. I'm going to go to Mrs. Such and Such who makes burgers because I value her burgers. That's all it takes.
The sad thing is that, like you said, we could change tomorrow. I mean, we could change it like in a week. We could shift the whole tide of our financial situation. We could shift the whole tide of a lot of our socioeconomic situations. We could shift the tide in our educational situation if we wanted to. But see, that would take a change of thought. It would take people changing their thinking. And I think a lot of times we in Black society, not only do we not want to change our thinking or change our minds, we don't really want to change our behavior. We like shit just the way it is. Yeah, we like it just the way it is. And we have gotten so used to shit being dysfunctional that anything functional kind of seems abnormal.
Yeah,
the real functional shit that would really help people, help children, help men, help women. A lot of us, we don't want any parts of that shit. We enjoy being on the sinking ship. Not only are we not trying to bail the damn canoe out, we're actually punching more holes in the shit. And I think the more we do that, the more we get used to it. We used to it. A lot of us are just like some of us are visionaries, some of us are pipe dreamers.
Yeah.
Some of us are pipe dreamers. Like a lot of us are driven. A lot of us have driven to a dead end. And it wouldn't take much to just back out and turn around. And a lot of us will just stay there on that dead end, man. We'll stay on that dead end and use excuses not to change, not to come up off of that dead end. Because see, a lot of times excuses justify the lack of progress.
Here's what cracks me up about us. We don't look at business or industry well. You buy video games without the knowledge that it was a brother who invented the first video game console with the single cartridge. So everything that we're buying that's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Atari, Genesis, all of that stuff, was really started by a brother. But we act like so this whole industry that we following is a black industry. If we would have just paid attention to what we was doing. We forget about the brothers I forget it, Samson, I think, his involvement in the cell phone. We forget about the other brother who created basically the super chip for these doggone computers that we're based on now. We forget about the brother's involvement with the mathematical equations for the internet in general. We forget about the sister who created LASIK surgery. You know, if you got a home and not home entertainment system, if you got a house alarm, we forget about the sister who created that. I didn't go back 100 years. And that's the problem. Like we want, like you said, we stuck where we at. But we don't realize how many industries we've affected in this country right now. Like we ain't talking about Reconstruction. We ain't talking about the Harlem Renaissance. We ain't talking about Black Wall Street. We ain't talking about, Chicago or Oakland or what was it, Winston-Salem. We're not talking about none of that. In the last 40 freaking years, we've done great things that we overlook.
Yep. And what puzzles me more than anything else, brother L.A.R, is that when you have people who point this shit out and talk about the shit you and I are talking about right now, a lot of times we become the enemy. We become the people who get our channels flagged. We become the people who receive the vitriol. I mean, not the people who are doing the crazy shit, the people who are really doing things that destroy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Brothers like you and I, we will catch the heat. And I got a good idea why. Because, see, like I told you earlier, brothers like you and I and other brothers on this spectrum, they're outliers. Like I said before, you're not the norm. I mean, there's not a bunch of L.A.Rs walking around here. They're just not. I mean, people can get mad at me because I said that, but it's true. I mean, it's just true. Just like it's not a bunch of X's walking around here. I mean, it's just not. I mean, brothers like you and I and others on the internet, we are outliers. Okay, we are probably 1 in 10,000. Brothers like Cerulean Gray, brothers like the master teacher BGS. You think it's the 5 million BGSs out there some damn where? No. Of course not. You think it's 5 million Cerulean Grays out there? Of course not. Of course not. It's just not. And I think that when they see brothers like that, the first thing goes into a brother's mind is, remember we talked about the resentment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that inner resentment causes people to think, oh man, he thinks he's better than us. He thinks he's smarter than us, which he is. You
know what's the crazy part about that resentment that cracks me up? The people who resent you the most are the people who were there with you in the beginning.
Yep.
And they don't want to admit that they don't like you because they didn't want to put in the work that you put in. See, people act like if somebody's successful, oh, you make it look so easy. Do you know how long it took for them to get to a level to make it look easy?
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize that the days that they woke up early, the nights that they went to sleep late because they had a passion for something. That's what made it look easy. You don't realize that's their routine to this day. It's like going into a gym and watching guys work out. Man, he's strong. He wasn't always strong. Ask him how long he been lifting weights. How long he been lifting? 30 years. So he didn't get there just yesterday. Ask a genius. Man, how did you get so smart? How long you been reading books? How many books you read? Oh, I read 2,000 and such a book. Obviously, that didn't happen overnight. And we get mad at our own people because I know the guys when I was younger, he's on the honor roll and he's at the party. And it's like, you was just at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And you mad at him because, man, you see how he living? You see how he acting now? He acting funny. No, he's not acting funny with you. He knows you. He knows you didn't want to do the things he did to get there. So what he can't help you because he knows you still not trying to help yourself. And we don't want to admit that some of us, even, oh man, I'm about to be mean, but I'm saying
Go ahead, man. Pull the trigger, brother. Pull the trigger.
We want people in our own community to fix our community and give it back to the people that messed it up in the first place. There's a lot of people that I know who are successful, and yet why they don't help these people out? Because they know good and hell well y'all just gonna F it up. People could help you, but the maintaining things is on you. I can give you the down payment for a house, but if you lose the house in 6 months, that means you didn't maintain it. I could give you a car, but if you don't change the oil and it's done in a year, you didn't maintain it. And then you mad at people for they just wasting money on cars, jewelry, and this, that, and the third. And it's like, you know why they wasting that money? Because they've been around people just like you who they invested in and they blew it. They would rather blow their money than give it to you now.
Exactly. Why? And I mean, why would you invest in someone who doesn't even invest in their damn selves? Like, I mean, if I invest in you, I don't even expect you to match my investment, but damn, I should see some type of investment on your own, on your part. You can't have that. That's what I think we like too. Okay, you talking about being mean. I think a lot of times us as black people, this is the shit we got going on too. We want people to get out there, work hard to get shit, bust their ass over the course of a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, build up something for them, and then turn around, not only shower it on people who ain't willing to work for shit, but also shower it on those same people who ain't willing to maintain the shit, respect the shit, treat the shit like it has value. That's what we expect. We expect that as people at times, because we seem to think that because one person has, that means all of us have, which is just total BS. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that, some of us should invest, in our communities, even if it's from afar. Now, I'm not one of those who subscribe to the fact that, if you fuck around and get rich, you should continue to live in the hood, because I think that that's stupid, because all you're going to do is become a target. Right. Yeah, you're just going to become a target. But I don't have a problem with brothers want to invest in the community. But what I do have a problem with is the people you just spoke about, where they say, oh, these people are so rich and, they don't do this and they don't do that for black people. You know why they don't? Because, see, they've worked hard for their money. All right. They've worked hard for their money. And I don't think that they believe that they should be invested in people who haven't invested in themselves. Because I do know that a lot of those brothers and sisters that have money, they do invest in shit. They do give the
Hold up. trying to make sure it's me or not. I will say this. Okay, I'm making sure because it froze up. I don't know if it was me or not. It's two ways to do this. If you invest, if you reach out and you want to invest in a person, there's two things they're gonna ask you. The first one, like you said, they're gonna ask you, what have you done on your own? If you can't answer that question, it's a red flag. Here's the second one, and usually the most important. How and when am I gonna get my money back? And when a person goes, huh? What you mean? That it's over. Because when you invest and if you believe in something that you're doing and somebody invests money in it, they invest in to get their money back. Sometimes you won't. And that people know how business works. Sometimes some things succeed, some things fail. But when you don't even have a plan to pay that back, it lets the person know you ain't serious. That ain't serious. You know, when you're offended that somebody expects to get a return on their investment in our community, that's a problem.
Many times, man, I mean, you would think by now, with all the information we have access to, all of the freaking stuff on the internet and digital libraries, and all that, we have access to so much information. I think that there should be very little dumb black people because we have so much access to information. You have access to audio. You don't like to read, fine. You can buy an audio book. You don't have to read the shit. You can play it on your computer, put it on your stereo, and just sit there and listen. I mean, we have so much access to information, things that will open our minds and change our thinking, but we don't utilize it. A lot of us just don't utilize it. They talking about they can't hear me. You are gone in a tunnel. X, you're gone. Can y'all hear me now? If y'all can hear me now, press the 1.
I think they can hear you now. You had spazzed out a little bit ago.
If y'all can hear me, press 1. Okay. Yes, they don't feel like pressing the 1. Oh, it's probably a little, but it's probably a little behind.
Yeah.
It's probably a little behind. Yeah, and by the way, as y'all can see, I have taken the advice of one of my good friends here on the old media spectrum and got myself a Streamlab. So if you feeling generous tonight, make sure you hit that old Streamlab tab and drop a few coins in the bucket. It is greatly appreciated. And if you're having problems with the Streamlab tab, you can go over to the PayPal links that are on the main page. If you look over there to the bottom right underneath Teacher Tanisha's pictures, you can see prophetic donations or donate to T.P.O.T Media. Your contributions are greatly appreciated, and we stay afloat because of contributors like you. And make sure you subscribe to Brother L.A.R's channel down here in the subscription box, and make sure you hit the link and get the brother's book, because like I said, if you don't buy the book, you don't subscribe to his channel, I will haunt you in your sleep tonight. Yeah, I'm glad you was able to come on, brother. I've been trying to get you on for a minute, man. We was playing like text tag there for a little bit. I appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, I think you're one of the most underestimated, underrated YouTubers there is, man. I mean, people need to hear your message, man. They need to hear the shit you talk about, man. I mean, I watched like 5 of your shits in a row, and they don't even be long. That's what's good. They only be like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 9 minutes. So y'all can go there and y'all can watch a whole slurry of them, probably like an hour, and every message is always different. Every message is always powerful, y'all, and every message is always on time and relevant to today's time. Before I let you go, because we're coming down to like the last 20 minutes of the show. Before I let you go, when do you think that us as brothers on YouTube, when do you think would be a good time? Now, I think yesterday, I think last week, but let me ask you, when do you think would be a good time for a group of us? And when I say group, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for all of us to get together and make a production, whether it be a video. I prefer it to be a video. I've tried to get brothers to do this so many times. Actually, me and Valdez supposed to be doing something like that, where we're going to each have like maybe a minute or a minute and a half of a clip. We're going to take all those clips. We're going to consolidate them together. And, everybody just put it on their channel. You know what I'm saying? When do you think would be a good time for us to do something like that? I think yesterday.
Last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the time is right, because even with all of the beefing, right, you see more of us working together than you see beefing, really.
True. And
I think a lot of times it seems we're at a point where if we can't get along, we're kind of separating from each other if we can't get along. But that doesn't mean, but at the same time, we see a lot of brothers working together. Like, what do you want to do? It's like, okay, you doing X, Y, and Z. How can I help? The one thing I can say for black men and even on this YouTube spectrum is we are always willing to do something for another brother. And that's why I think the time is last year to do it, because I think we don't have a problem getting to know each other or getting each other to do stuff. I will say this, and I don't know if it's just me on my end, but when operating under Google, sometimes people can't get at me and they tell me they've been messaging me and I don't even freaking know it. Like, and I'm using this as an example. Q told me he had hit me up. I did not know this. I had with BGS's Hangouts, he used to be able to put the link up, right? I couldn't get in there. Char started sending me the links to my email, because when I would try to just get them on the Hangouts, it wouldn't open. It wouldn't open for me. So I didn't know if that was tech or what.
Happens with me too, man. I mean, whenever I put the link in the chat, it doesn't work. I have to, whoever I have come on the show, if someone's in the chat room and they want to come on, I got to put that shit in their email. They can't just take the link out the chat and come on. It used to be like that, but now, no, if I got 9 people that want to come on, I got to email all 9 of those people to get them, on the stream. I don't know what's good with that, man.
No, I get it, but I think for communication wise, brothers don't know. Like, people will send me a personal email through YouTube, and I recently sent somebody a response. I was like a month late because I just got it, and I'm like, man, I don't know how many people probably done cussed me out by not thinking that, I was just ignoring them. And I got the little studio.
I had hit you up through YouTube too.
Yeah, like that is a major problem. The way O'Shea get at me, he get at me through Facebook now. Because it works better.
Yeah.
So
I think they're experiencing technical difficulties or something. Well, there's lots going on with YouTube right now. It's all kinds of nonsense going on. I mean, it's just crazy, man. That's why I think at some point, man, I I mean, I think brothers will survive on YouTube. I mean, I don't think they're just going to get rid of the brothers because number one, it's too many of us. Okay, it's too many of us. Number two, getting rid of the brothers, they would have to get rid of a lot of other people too. But I think at some point, brothers, we're going to have to find another medium. We're going to have to find, more of us are going to have like Patreon accounts, that kind of thing. We're going to have to move some of our stuff. We're going to have to move some of our digital furniture to other houses.
Right.
That's what I like
Black
to say. We're going to have to move our digital furniture. Yep.
Black spot, stuff like that.
Yep. That's what's going to happen.
And I will say this.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, brother.
I've been doing YouTube so long that I know I've seen them do things and get caught red-handed. So, and I say this to everybody, if you're a black YouTuber, black male in particular, your subscribers that you see, you had more than that. The views that you got, you had more than that. You're going to come to, if you do it long enough, you're going to come to find out the people who are subscribed to you will wind up being unsubscribed and have to resubscribe. The people who get your notification squad, they're going to time them out of the notification and they're going to have to hit the bell again. Your comment section may have more comments than you might have views. And that ain't going to add up to you. But you're going to see these other cats, especially non-black people, they'll have 1,000 subscribers and 500,000 views in a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, how that happen? And you could be talking about the same trending topic. So
just keep it. I lost like 50 subscribers one time. I looked up, man, I was like 50, 60 subscribers down. I was like, damn, that happened. And then the next day they was just back.
Mm-hmm.
Shit was just back, like out of nowhere. And I know 50 people didn't subscribe at one time and then resubscribe at the same time.
Right.
I mean, that's not what happened. So, it's just then fluctuating algorithms. I think that what happened when that big flagathon / butthurt / gender war / whatever you want to call it, when that shit went on, I think that shit kind of trimmed up to the higher ups in YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to take some type of action. And I think the brothers, we feel it the most because we benefit from it the least, if you can understand what I'm saying. The people, right. the people who feel it the most is always the people who benefit from it the least. So we're feeling it the most because we don't benefit, because see, they will let, this is the thing, when you talk about YouTube, and they'll probably flag this too, I don't know, but when you talk about YouTube, they're always talking this hate speech and this and that. They always talk about these guidelines and community guidelines and all this kind of nonsense. But if you pull up something on your search engine right now, you'll find some shit that's so vitriolic. You'll find some shit that is not according to their so-called community guidelines. So they're picking and choosing. They're picking and choosing what they can say is up, this is against community guidelines. Up, this is hate speech. Up, this is whatever. So they're picking and choosing the shit they want to do that with. They got this thing now where, if you don't have at least 1,000 subscribers, you can't even monetize your videos.
Right.
Now, I watched the video on it the other day, and they got some guy up there and he's talking like he's doing you a favor by demonetizing your damn videos, because he's telling you, hey, you have less than 1,000 videos, so what this is going to cause you to do is work a little harder and get you know, get to 1,000. And if you're people who do have more than 1,000, guess what? Now your videos are in a safe place. When really it's not about the people they come across, because it's never about people, it's about profits, right?
Right.
Now, if a person only has 25 subscribers, if their video is getting views, guess what? That person's still making money. So the people who have less than 1,000 subscribers, those are just people they don't have to pay anymore.
Exactly.
That's what it all comes down to. They don't have to pay your ass anymore. You can run your videos, and no matter, it could get 1 million views. But if you only got 700 subscribers, you don't get paid. That's what it's about. It's not about personal nothing. It's not about community guidelines. It's not about people growing their channels. It's about dollars and cents. And they need to just get on there and say, see, they need me as their spokesman. Because I would come up there and be like, okay, look here. Now y'all on YouTube, I get that. But if your ass ain't got 1,000 subscribers, we're not paying your asses no more. That's just the way it is. That's what I could respect that. That kind of stuff I could respect. I can't respect the glossing over of shit, man. I can't respect the trying to make us think that it's something that it's not. And to close out, I think that that's a thing with us as a people. I think that we are so caught up into thinking things are something that they're not, because we got people telling us things are something that they're not. Give me a final thought before we roll out of here, brother L.A.R.
They treating us just like Christianity.
Exactly.
I think I'm gonna say this on a positive note. The one thing I can say about brothers on YouTube in the last couple of years, I think we probably got the most diverse content of any group on this doggone platform. Now, they could talk about gender war and hate speech, but when you look at the totality of black men on YouTube, you wind up having a very wide spectrum of content. And you can't say that about everybody else. And not just silly content, intellectual content, social commentary, current events, history, politics, electronics, cars, fitness. This is outside of that gender war stuff we talking. Mathematics, science. Yeah, our group, and I've noticed this. There are a lot of people on this platform that get a lot of views by just kind of poaching black guys' pages and just doing what brothers were doing. That's it. And it's a platform where one dude got 6 million views for having a suicide body swinging on a tree. So you can't tell me you got guidelines. Can't tell me that. But you have these other channels where, guys say one thing and nobody hardly watches it, and another guy says the exact same thing. 500,000 views in a day. I'm not buying it. So, I say keep your nose to the grind. Like, I do this as a hobby. It doesn't bother me, but I also do it as, I told I'm gonna slow down once I get to 2,000 videos. And I got like maybe 20 left to get to 2,000. Because the goal was to do like over 1,000, like 1,200 in a year. And I was short on that, but I probably hit 1,000. So
yeah, I watch your stuff. Sometimes you put like 4-5 joints up a day. I'm like, damn, he do a lot of videos, man.
it,
Put-
I do them very simply. I do them back to back to back. You know, that's why you see the same shirt and the same hat, like 3 videos in a row. You know, it'll take depends on if the videos are 10 minutes, it might take me 45 minutes to do them tops, maybe 40 minutes because I just typing out the info and stuff like that. That's it. And I'll say this before we go. For all you people who want to do this stuff, it's not as difficult as you may think. Like what I just said, I can upload 3 videos a day in a span of 45 minutes, tops. You can do that if you want to. It ain't gonna hurt your day at all. Because I do this, I get up in the morning, 5 a.m. every day. I go to the gym, take a shower at the gym. I go to work. I work 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours sometimes. Then I come home, cook, do this, and then I get back to the rest of my day. I do this like clockwork. It won't harm your day. And even when my sons here, I do this. So, and if for y'all that might make this a hobby, it might get y'all some extra money, do whatever. Some people make a living off of this stuff. You can do it too.
Yep. It's for you too. That's why they call it YouTube. It's YouTube. I want to thank brother L.A.R for coming through tonight. This has been in the makings for a while, y'all. I always try to get y'all a good guest. Once again, go ahead, subscribe to the brother's channel. You will find the link in the subscription box. Even if you're watching it on the playback, you look down in the subscription box and you can subscribe to brother L.A.R's channel. It's some good stuff over there because old X is subscribed. So you might as well go ahead and subscribe too.
Thank you.
And make sure, yeah, because if you don't, I haunt you in your sleep. Make sure you stop by Prophet of Thought series on Facebook, the main Facebook page, and make sure you stop by the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. There's always some good stuff over there. And also make sure you stop by the Prophet of Thought series fan group page. Request to be a member. I'm sure they'll let you in. Believe it or not, I'm not even an admin over there. I posted some videos the other day. They still ain't been approved yet. I'm like, wait a minute. How the hell my video ain't been approved yet? So go over there, request to be a member. Hopefully the admins will let you in because they won't even approve my damn videos and it's my damn platform. But yeah, and make sure you can check us out also on Instagram, Prophet of Thought, and WhatsApp. And we got a Twitter. Our Twitter is at T.P.O.T Media. That's at T.P.O.T Media. You better follow me on Twitter because you know if you don't, I'll haunt you in your sleep for that too. And also make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you go by our website www.don'tevenTryIt.wikifoundry.com. Once again, I like to thank my moderators. Y'all always do a good job. Y'all always posting the links. Make sure y'all post the PayPal link and the Streamlabs link one more time before we go off. And thanks for posting the Twitter link too, Char Will and WOTP. I appreciate y'all tonight, Lady Cats, everybody for posting the links because you know my old lazy ass didn't want to do it. Once again, I want to thank y'all for stopping by and spending some time with us, everybody who came through tonight and watched the stream. Make sure you're here tomorrow, though, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Unicorn 4 will be in the house, and the topic will be mass education and higher incarceration. That's right, you heard me. Mass education and higher incarceration. Lady Ming won't be there tomorrow, but I'm working on bringing a fill-in unicorn tomorrow. You have to tune in tomorrow to find out who it is. So With that, I would like to thank our guest of honor one more time, brother L.A.R. Movement, brother. I appreciate you coming through tonight, man. I appreciate it. You're welcome at the old T.P.O.T Media YouTube page anytime. And if you ever want OX to come on over there to L.A.R. land, just give me a holler. I'll come through and talk some shit.
Hey, I gotta start
All right.
live again.
Yeah, man. Invite me. I'll come on down there and talk some shit. Make your subscribers mad and shit.
You gonna clown, that's all.
Yeah, man. But I appreciate you coming by, man. And you know, man, it's always a pleasure, man. And like I said, man, come by anytime, brother. We do this every week. All right.
No problem. You let me know. I'm through.
All right, brother.
All right.
With that, I will leave y'all with 3 words like I always do. Open your minds. And we out of here, y'all.
Peace, man.
Peace. Peace, folks.